live.
Oh, hey.
Hey, there we are.
Nice.
Popping up and stuff.
Yeah.
So I saw you're painting some champions.
I am.
So, yeah, Argatoria is coming soon.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, nice.
Let me tell you, man, painting 10 millimeters, I'd be like, they're smaller. There's less to paint. This will be easier. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, right. Everything's a detail.
Yeah, that's it. 10 and I'm now extremely worried for when my 6 millimeter stuff shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's just like one color.
So is that for Lion Rampant, or what are you doing 6 millimeter
I'm doing
for?
6 millimeter for Lion Rampant. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Only because the okay, we've jumped all over the place. Sorry. Yes. So I'm just this morning I finally got all of the models for Argatoria Vandrel Starter Army primed.
Oh, cool.
Like I ran out on the balcony this morning and
Nice,
sprayed the
nice,
rest
nice.
of them, which is great because it's raining now, so I can't prime them.
Right, yeah, good timing. Yeah.
So they're all primed and ready to go, and I'm going to do an assembly line kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if I should do like a heavy, or not heavy, do a light but dark colored wash on them, and then do a heavy dry brush with white, because thing is, if you base in white, it takes the color really well. If you miss something, it's like, glowing armpits, right, kind of thing. So it's hard to get some detail. So I'm wondering if like an all-over wash that then is just for recesses, and then putting white over most of it again will work better with the contrast paint.
It might. Yeah, and I think I sent you a message. I did notice that contrast paint, I don't know if it's not shaken enough or certain primers or whatever, it will pull away completely. So instead of giving you a highlight, it'll just be like, let's recede away, because I've been painting stuff and it's just like, there's no way that I missed that. That's like so obvious. There's no way that was a painting mistake, and I watched it happen. Like it was like, okay, let's see, and then it's like it just goes, whoa, hey. So maybe it's not shaken well enough, or some kind of the adhesion thing is very dicey. So I'm interested to try speed paints and other paints to see if they do that same thing, because contrast paints definitely do. They definitely pull away.
I don't think I've had that problem, but I'll look into it maybe.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to do. Also, what I want to do is like use the Vallejo white and a big old brush to just kind of like soak into the top of the ballast or the sand. I'm using, because I think the spray missed like little cracks around the edges of the gravel that we use, and so I'll do that. But then, for the 6 millimeter stuff that's coming is Lion Rampant, which is miniatures agnostic. You can use anything you want, and if you like scale it down to centimeters and then cut that in half, it'll be micro game.
Yeah, nice. That's great.
Plus the 6 millimeter miniatures that I found, I'm like, these are too cool to not get, because like the appeal is like 10 miniatures for the price of like one normal 28.
Oh yeah,
right? So.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I saw one of my kind of favorite like Patreon STL makers was doing a Warhammer Ancients armies, like supporting the different armies for Warhammer Ancients. I'm like,
10 millimeter?
I think it's 10. Yeah. But he was like, I think all of his stuff is 10. Yeah, that looks good.
yeah. That's the thing. Like looking at something like this stuff looks good.
Yeah. I like his stuff a lot. Yeah. All right. So let's get to it. So we should have a battle coming up. I'm getting stuff kind of figured out. It's all primed. I'm just trying to figure out my colors and stuff. I'll have to play around.
Starter army did you get? Because there's the Sorax and the
Arox.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like the sun lizards. Yeah, because I've got that big beast with like a sun.
Really?
Like a sun temple thing, like a big stone. And I'm trying to figure out what the coolest way to paint that is, like what kind of rock it is or whatever. If I want to do it, make it look glowing or translucent, or if it's just like some big hunk of gold. Or something.
That would be, big hunk of gold would be pretty cool if it was done. But like, I can't paint non-metallic metals. I suppose I could practice, but like if you were able to paint it so it looked translucent, that would be pretty cool. Or maybe like not an opposite, but like a complementary color to whatever you're going with. So if you're going with like the kind of the sun lizard folks, it's a lot of like yellow and orange and red. Maybe go with like a blue.
Yeah. That would be very cool.
And I'm kind of in the same place, trying to figure out like what all the furs are going to be.
Yeah.
With like the Vandrel barbarians, they're supposed to be like black hair with red is their primary color. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do all like the fur kilts in brown.
Yeah, you're right.
That would just be a lot of flesh color and brown, right? So I'm like, I'm still figuring it out. But then you also kind of want them to look unified.
Right. So they seem to be in the same group.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But I noticed too, especially for Oathmark, it's nice because my goblins and dwarves are based differently, and so the color, at least the color of the basing material, so it's really easy to identify. Yeah. So I like that as well. So maybe different types of units being a little different isn't bad.
No, as long as you can tell what's what.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, so more of that soon. So yeah, let's get started for this week. Let's take a quick look in the chat. Yay, Matt and Abyss, how you guys doing? Nice. Yeah, Matt, after we were both listening to the audiobook for Game Wizards, and both of us then started going back and looking for the basic box set for D&D. How much would that be? How much would that be?
$300.
Yeah, so Matt's about a couple $1,000 purchases.
Wow. I mean, although if you add up all the miniature stuff I've bought over that.
Yeah, right. You could have had an original.
I don't think I want one.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, let's do this. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly,
I'm ready.
Star Trek Away Missions. Oh.
Okay.
Free League Summer Sale. 5 Parsecs from the Titan Forge.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Spire 5th edition, 5th anniversary edition.
Oof, okay. You almost got me real mad there. All right.
5th edition, yeah, right. And Monty Python Zombicide. That'll be a come on.
Could that be first so we don't sorry, no, I'm not going to change the order, but that's going to end.
Okay, we'll start there. Okay.
We don't have to. Sorry. All right. Sorry.
Here we go. No, we're starting.
Throwing a spanner in the works here. All right.
We'll start there just to see how it goes. So I guess this is our new segment, the oh, come on.
Which is a lot worse than not the best.
Yeah, right. So Come On, who used to be CMON, or a lot of people said CMON, and they said no, call us Come On because it sounded weird. But both are not great. So Cool Mini or Not. Right. That's the abbreviation for.
Which I feel like started kind of like as like a Facebook kind of thing, where it was like, maybe I'm wrong, but it's like, is this a Cool Mini or not? Right?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was like a gimmick, like they had forums and stuff. Yep. Because they got the rights for Confrontation Minis after that company went under, Rackham went under, and there was a bunch of weird stuff. And I think it came from because Rackham kind of created this like new type of painting that people were doing, the non-metallic metals and the light source kind of stuff. So real fun, fancy painting. So I think they started having boards where people were posting, and that was the instead of hot or not, it was is this a cool mini? But they've gotten way out of hand, so they haven't done anything good for a long time.
Bold statement.
Yeah, so they've been doing, they did some great Eric M. Lang games, Blood Rage, and a lot of the his series of kind of the, I'm totally blanking. So the series of kind of there's the Japanese one, the Viking one, and then the Egyptian one.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Kind of area control, combat.
Right,
try to kill your guys intentionally games, and so good rule sets and stuff. And now it's just been licensed stuff. They've done Marvel Chibi universe stuff and all kinds of okay stuff, and they're leaning real heavy into their Zombicide original kind of property. So they've been doing Zombicide. There was a Zombicide Marvel, I believe, and they updated it to a sci-fi setting. There's a modern setting, and then of course there's the Black Plague, which is their fantasy setting. The character designer is excellent.
Like that's what you were saying.
Yeah, for those games. Yeah. But and the games, I've heard people say that the rule set is fun and it's playable, but they are really milking the hell out of this. So
I think I've played Zombicide, but I gotta wonder, is this like the Monopoly of miniature games? Where like, is it just a different wrapping?
Yes.
Or are the mechanics different?
I don't know. It sounds like there is some mechanical difference, but I can't figure out how this would work. I don't understand how this would possibly work. So grab your herring and spam for the upcoming Monty Python Zombicide expansion. Oof. Okay, so Marvel Zombies.
Okay,
Marvel Zombies was one of the last things that they had done licenses for this property, and CMON has just announced their latest expansion is Monty Python's Flying Circus Zombicide. So this is for second edition, which was I think recently kickstarted, and it adds a lot of Monty Python, theme stuff. So new survivors and then new zombies. I guess new equipment. Oh no, I guess it's new survivors, new equipment, and new missions.
Okay.
And there's things like Arthur Nudge, the lumberjack, the minister of silly walks, all that great stuff. And the one thing, I guess, so the one thing that can be used as either a companion, a survivor, or a single abomination is the group of Gumbies. So I don't know if that's still politically correct, but the guys with the just had the handkerchiefs tied on their heads, and so they're making fun of something that nobody and nobody outside the UK has any idea what they're talking about, but it's become iconic because it's through repetition on PBS we all know those characters. So there's this group of I think 6 of these models, and you can use them together as they're so stupid that there has to be 6 of them to be one person. Or you can use them as an abomination, so as a big monster, or as companions for your other Monty Python characters. Yeah, and there's 3 parts of the funniest joke in the world that you can recover as a survivor, so you can work together to do that. And herring, fish slapping dance, and chopping down the mightiest tree in the forest as, of course, a lumberjack. And I'm sure there's infinite spam references, but why? I mean, I guess it's a property. It's like, oh, this is a geek property, and maybe it's not. They just had the role playing, the tabletop role playing game. Was that who? Exalted Funeral?
I think it was Exalted Funeral.
Yeah. So somebody got the license.
It was someone I generally respect and kind of went, oh.
Yeah. And they leaned, heavily into that humor. And I mean, this is like British humor from the 70s, and it's still it holds up because it's kind of clever and very absurdist, but it's become almost a nerd cliche now. Like
I think that's it, because when you said it's like British humor from the 70s, my brain kind of went, oh, hold on Humble Bundle. I think the most recent bundle is Warlock and Warp Star, right? And it's like British science fiction from the 80s with that 80s sensibility. I'm like, well, okay, they're different genres, different things, but I'm like, what made me kind of turn up my nose at one and go, oh, but I kind of want to see this other one, right? So I think it's what you said. It's like Monty Python has become this like iconic cornerstone, maybe that's a bit extreme, or like it's the things you reference during the game, right? Except our group, which I think we banned it, where it's just like it's too much, right? And I think that's coloring my opinion here, right? But like, I actually kind of want to know how this works. Because it's not like Zombicide has that much flavor, in my opinion. Right. But it's kind of like you're fighting zombies, right? Would the Monty Python Zombicide, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying that, would the Monty Python Zombicide expansion, is it going to be like we're all playing a game and there's one person at the table who's kind of throwing everything off and not playing with like the vibe and is kind of like messing stuff up? Or is it just like, no, we're all playing the Monty Python Zombicide expansion, so be silly. Right. Yeah, if I can tolerate that. It has to be the latter, because otherwise it's like, oh, like rescue with this one, chopped on the fucking what? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So for their Kickstarters, they would have a lot of guest artists and stuff do like maybe characters from their games or whatever that would be inserted. So I guess Zombicide is kind of modular in that you can because it's just the stats of the character, and you can the art of the model is a little different or whatever. I guess it still works. But yeah, this seems like they're like specifically having like Python themed missions and stuff to make it more whatever. But it's odd. It's a really odd choice. And some of these characters, like, how are you going to? Are they really going to be recognizable as miniatures on a table? So yeah, it's odd. And they're kind of are kind of just like most of the stuff that CMON does, like very stylized and cartoonish and. Kind of interesting, but I don't understand this. Maybe the license, maybe enough Python members have passed away that the license now is like getting more affordable, or there's less critical eyes, looking at these things. Maybe. But so there's so pre-order is up, and it's due out April of next year. So sign up to.
Maybe all you'll get is like a box that says April Fools.
Right? Yeah, April. I came out on April 1st. How convenient. well, speaking of odd miniatures,
Okay.
this caught me a little off guard. At first, I was excited. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm actually maybe a little bit more interested in this, and this is weird for me to say, than I am in Star Wars Shatterpoint, because it's all the
Oh, geez.
Clone Wars stuff.
Right,
It's all the
okay.
prequel
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
But I saw Star Trek Away Missions, and I'm like, whoa, miniatures. And if it's cheap board game miniatures, and then the RPG, and there's battle maps for the 2D20 RPG. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. And if it's cheap and it's a board game, but then I saw the miniatures. But anyhow.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to hear what these miniatures look like. Yeah. Okay.
So Star Wars Away Missions.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. Thank you.
Dude, we're just gonna get
I know.
horrible nerd.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and forth because I said Shatterpoint, so now I'm gonna be
yep.
all screwed up. So this is not a ridiculously overpriced, oversized, skirmish game set
Okay.
in the Star Trek world. It is a board game, specifically a sci-fi miniatures board game, is what they're calling it.
Okay.
So it's going to have board game miniatures, not nothing
Sure,
that's
whatever,
going to
yep.
be probably very paintable. But Gale Force 9, so who usually does decent quality stuff, they have this license to take the iconic Star Trek characters for a quick, easy to play combat board game with different scenarios. And their starter set for Away Missions is the Federation versus the Borg. So it's basically factions, like 4 recognizable factions so far, with a scenario, and they're like kind of iconic battles.
Okay.
So the Federation versus the Borg starter set is the Battle of Wolf 359, which is Riker's OA team versus the Unimatrix of the Borg, led by Locustus.
Right.
So yeah, kind of
Like I
classic.
remember
And,
that.
yeah,
Okay,
like, kind of classic, and
Yep.
so
Okay.
that's good for next generation. And they also offering 2 expansions. One is a Klingon expansion, which is Gowron's Honor Guard, and then the Romulan expansion, which is Sila's Infiltrators. Right.
Okay.
So these are recognizable.
Sure.
But it's all. It seems like it's all next generation stuff. Hopefully they'll do some classic, like original series
Well,
stuff. But yeah.
I was gonna say, like we discussed with Star Wars stuff before,
Mm-hmm.
who knows how the Star Trek eras are chopped up for licensing?
Oh, right.
Right? Like maybe the only thing like, okay, we got the license for next generation.
Right.
Right? Let's
And
do that
this,
one.
yeah,
and
this
see
probably
how it
will,
works.
would have a pretty choosing these like kind of iconic clashes and stuff might be a good setting and have the most appeal.
I'm not a Trekkie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are iconic scenes from like the Shatner era.
Right.
But like, what are the away teams from that? Just like one person and a bunch of red shirts, right? Like that's the first thing that pops in my head. Huh?
Right. Yeah. So so this game is fixable. So you can. I'll get to that in a minute. So you can download the rulebook right now if you want to see mechanically how this works, and it's kind of how you would expect. There's cards with your stats on them, and you have your miniature, and then there's like cards that kind of randomize the something's happening, some effect on the board, and some equipment and things that you can have, and of course there's objectives for whatever scenario you're running. But
Kind of like a board you move around on.
yeah, so it's not squares, you're not measuring anything, it's kind of zones.
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
so kind of irregular zones broken up on these like tile these tile boards that you lay out for different missions.
Okay. So far,
And-
I'm with it.
Yeah, and the campaigns, each of them, different configurations.
Yep,
So you
yep.
have a couple of tiles, and you can get a lot of use out of them.
Okay, I'm down for this. Yeah.
And then I saw the miniatures, and they look like, so if you go to shopping mall or the boardwalk or something, and someone draws your caricature of you on a skateboard, and they're weird. So they're kind of it gets 25, 28 millimeter scale, and their bodies are kind of normal size and scaled that way. And then their heads, just, I guess so you could recognize the famous
That's
characters or whatever.
weird. Okay.
Yeah, they've got these like weird
Bobble
bobblehead
heads?
things, and the Klingons look insane with these giant heads. And I was like, okay, so maybe they're trying to take it away from, okay, this isn't going to be a competitive,
Yep.
there aren't going to be tournaments, this is just a fun, throw some dice and run around on a board as Star Trek characters. But so that was really disappointing, because I thought, this is a simple, cheap game that has a couple of different factions. That's fun. That's nice, and I really want some stuff to that's affordable that could support the role-playing game. But Modifius does have that, as a matter of fact. So they'd produced a whole series of miniatures, away teams.
Oh yeah. Okay.
away team miniatures for the Star Trek Adventures 2D20 role-playing game, and it not exactly 1-to-1, but a lot. I think you can pretty much do a Romulan, a Klingon, and then a Federation and a Borg away team, and replace those horrible miniatures. They're not going to. The art's not going to match, of course, on the cards, but you can proxy some of these, and they're nice sculpts, decent scale. They're available both in plastic that was produced for the Kickstarter and also STLs. So you could replace all the miniatures for like 20 pounds, for the board game. And if you, but
Who
then print
produces the board game?
It's Gale Force 9.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. So that was a little surprising because, they usually do nice stuff like the stuff they did for Dune and everything. Really good design and good quality components. It's like, this is an odd choice.
Well,
and it's obviously a deliberate design choice, but
first thing that pops into my head is what kind of audience were they going for with this game, right? Okay, like, cool, the bobblehead things are maybe going to appeal to some people, right? And like, okay, you want the ability to tell which kind of iconic character it is, I guess. But if Modifius miniatures already exist, maybe Gale Force 9 or whoever did it said like, we don't want to compete.
Yeah, and
right?
have to be basically duplicating.
Right. We don't want to duplicate what they've done. Or like, we don't want to have people complaining about like quality, but like, look at these when like you could. Why did you have miniatures that are like this? So maybe they just said, okay, we're going to do something that, if it's just like a family fun kind of game, people won't care. Or miniature aficionados are either probably already going to have these or might replace them anyway. So.
Yeah,
why not?
That's true. Yeah, because I don't think there are any other. They did a ship battle game, but I don't think Star Trek has a miniatures. Like Star Wars has like 5 or so. There's a ton of miniatures games for Star Wars, but I think Star Trek doesn't have that. So maybe they were afraid to make it look like they're trying to do Star Trek Legions or something. They wanted to stay away from that. And away team is a good way to kind of like say this is going to be a small group versus a small group. And I think a lot of it really sounded good to me.
Except for the bobblehead miniatures.
Yeah. But I guess that they're just trying to get across. This isn't serious. We're probably not going to support the hell out of this. This is going to be a game with a couple of expansions, and you can do some fun stuff. But it sounds like the different away teams, or the teams are themed well, because the Klingons are good at melee, the Romulans are good at stealth. So it makes sense. But maybe the mechanics are so light that anybody, with any kind of that wants to scratch a war gaming itch or a skirmish game itch is just gonna be like, ugh, yeah. So it might be too simple.
What's the price tag?
Pretty reasonable. So you can pre-order it now. So the retail price is $60 US for 2 teams. All the tiles, all the cards, everything to play the game, and then the expansions are $25. But on online retailers, that knocks it down to about $43 for the starter set, and then about $18 for the expansion. So you can get them pretty cheap.
Not horrible, but a bit.
Yeah, but the way that they're looking, and probably the quality is going to be very board gamey.
Right.
But yeah, if you ever wanted a bobblehead Riker miniature, well, you're in luck.
Does it come with a chair you can swing this leg over?
Right. So yeah, that was kind of an odd thing. So odd miniatures, but don't worry, we're gonna we'll talk about some good miniatures coming up in a little bit. But first, Free League Summer Sale. So I just wanted to mention this and put a link to it. So anyone that's interested, because we talk about a lot of Free League games. So this is their sale up to 50% off, but you're probably going to get about between 17 to 22% off of most of the stuff they're offering. So it's Blade Runner, Alien, Lord of the Rings, the 5e conversion, not One Ring, and I'm sure there might be some stuff up there. No, yeah, they do. They are saying One Ring, Tales from the Loop, Saborum, and Coriolis are all kind of up there. So if you want physical books, or I think even digital stuff is on sale as well. Yes. They do have the Blade Runner Reptitech bundle, which is the core book, starter set, and screen, which is a really good deal. And because that gives you the first case file and all the cool like newspapers and stuff to throw on the table, as well as the giant map of Los Angeles.
Nice.
What is it again? Los Angeles in that era. And the Lord of the Rings is there as a 5e bundle, so you can 5e rules to play your Lord of the Rings. But so I'll put a link to that, and it's worth checking out if there's anything that you wanted to pick up. But also remember too, if you're kind of waiting, you'd like a physical book, every Kickstarter that Free League does, they always allow the other books as add-ons.
Oh wow, okay.
So that's free shipping basically. So you're paying full retail for the book, but you get it shipped to you for free if you add it on in their various Kickstarters. But who knows when the next one of those will be?
Yeah, really.
But back to good miniatures. So this was kind of a surprise for me, and this is the future. This is what I've kind of been waiting this collaboration to happen.
I'm ready to hear all about the future.
Yes, here comes the future. So 5 Parsecs from Home is a solo adventure war game. So you have a crew of galactic trailblazers, and you basically, as you would in a skirmish game, you do missions, you level up, your members die, you hire new ones, and you're just doing jobs. Right. And the cool thing is the battles are procedurally generated, so a huge combination of enemies, weapons, battlefield, circumstances, and objectives make it very different each time you're playing it, and then you've got loot and you progress your crew. So Titanforge, 5 Parsecs is being published now by Modifius.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was on the Modifius website, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, because I've got a digital copy of the first edition, I think,
really?
and I think
Okay.
this is like a kind of a revised. I'm not sure if it's a full 2.0, but it's like a revised edition.
It's a game I keep meaning to pick up and look at.
Yeah, but Modifius and Titanforge. So Titanforge has been around. I think they're celebrating their 3rd anniversary. So 3 years of monthly producing amazing both fantasy and sci-fi STLs for printing, and they're basically doing the thing that a lot of people are. It's like the not quite Space Marines or not quite Deep Rock Galactic space mining dwarves. They kind of do this. It's like their take on things, and so it's different enough, but it's good proxies for a lot of stuff.
Titanforge are also the ones that do like the pinup models. Or am I thinking of something else?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if these guys do. I know there are several that do. Like they'll have a selection. They do busts in some of their packages, but I don't know if they do anything particularly sexy.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else, and I don't want to say.
They're pretty functional, and we've got an ambulance. Yep. But they also do a lot of nice terrain, scatter terrain and different ships and things, and so. They've gotten a lot of experience doing this. They do a really good job. The models themselves are either unsupported or pre-supported. They print really well, really nice detail. And so this July, specifically, they're really, so every month, if you don't know how these like Patreon STL designers work, they give you, so you sign up for the Patreon, you get a welcome bundle. It's like, and they keep adding to, so it's just like a bunch of stuff, and just a bunch of just random stuff that they've worked on before that covers a bunch of things that they have already done and may be adding to in the future. And then each month there'll be kind of a theme and things coming out, and it's usually quite a few models. And if you have a My Mini Factory account, they usually just get added directly in there.
I think you usually do have to go, because I belong to like a couple of them, and then I kind of said, okay, well, I'm not really printing anything that much, so let me pull back a little bit.
Right.
But if you have a My Mini Factory account, you usually get an email, and you have to like click a link, but then it does get added to your library.
Yeah, I've noticed some do and some don't. So I guess some people have it figured out, or maybe have a different kind of account with My Mini. So it works. Yeah, but it's really handy, and then they're there forever. Like your My Mini Factory account. So if you quit and all of the tribe or the Patreon that provide those, they're still there for you always.
Yeah, that's nice. That's why I've decided to I'm not really printing anything. I want to send my money elsewhere. I'll back out for a few months. I didn't lose the STLs that I have, which I like.
Oh, good. Yeah. I think that's very, very good. And then often, too, what will happen is the previous months will then go on sale on their stores. So you can buy them. If there's like something specific, I can't believe I missed that, or I want that for my D&D character or whatever, you can buy them individually.
You often have a pretty steep discount code, too.
Oh, right. Yes. And if you are a patron or a tribe member, you get a good discount at their store. So it's probably worth signing up for 1 month, paying that $10, and then getting more than that in discount from their store. So the July release from Cyberforge, Titanforge is the fantasy themed, and this is Cyberforge. So Cyberforge, I think there is a level of patron where you get both every month. Okay. So if you really want a ton of STLs every month, so Cyberforge Sci-Fi Minis for the month of July will include a complete 5 Parsecs from Home crew, some enemies, terrain, and a ship. So they've been working off of Yeah, ship. It'll be in pieces. I'm sure you'll have to print several pieces. So they've been working from concept art in the core book to create these miniatures. Cool. So you'll get the Engineer, the Kieran, Solus, Precursor, Feral, and Swift for your crew. The first batch of enemies will include the Converted and the Frightening Vent Crawlers. So so all of this like directly from, so they're not like, doing their own thing and saying, oh, you could play this in 5 parsecs. It's actually a collaboration directly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, using that art. And you can also expect to see Kokana's arms make an appearance in the terrain set. So if you played the game, you know what that is.
If like me, you haven't. You're just like,
Right.
okay, that sounds cool.
Yes. And a bar and a spaceship for the crew. Yeah, so a lot of stuff. So the creator of Titan Forge, Ivan Sorensen, is making this special set, and they're also doing pre-generated crew stats for all new players, so you can immediately you don't have to like actually roll up these characters. They're already statted out for you. And if you do join this month, you'll also get a free PDF along with the miniatures of the rules.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's pretty cool.
That's a pretty good deal. And then, of course, also included, because this is a collaboration, a 50% discount on 5 parsecs from home, PDF or physical book from the Modifius store. So you'll get the PDF, but if you want the Modifius PDF,
Right.
which I'm not sure if it's different or not, you get a discount from Modifius. So this is a very legit collaboration, not just kind of fandom or anything. So, and then the STL miniatures will then be available on the Titan Forge My Mini Factory store after the fact. So if you missed this in July, if you're watching this later, or
thank you. If you're watching this later, thank you.
yes, thank you, thank you so much. Why? What are you doing? This was really dated information. And the Modifius store will also offer the same in the same. So they're starting to do more and more. I've noticed that STLs, because I think they produce miniatures for their Kickstarters, but then maybe the distribution and stuff.
Right.
They do it in a limited way, and they're just like, okay, let's keep these on the store and just offer them as print at home.
Yeah, not having to distribute something or being able to distribute things digitally. For business, it has to be one less thing for them to worry about, right? You don't have to store it, you don't have to do it.
Oh yeah.
You do have to worry about piracy being a little easier, right?
Right, and also maybe you'll get some tech, support requests. People complaining about something. My printer couldn't. The finger didn't print on my.
Right. Well, that's on you, right? That's on you. Like, we gave you all the technical specs, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I was really surprised by this, and I think this is the direction. I mean, there's so many talented people doing monthly such great miniature digital sculpts and things, and there's so many miniature agnostic games out there. There's got to start being these collaborations where people start taking advantage of the amount of amazing content, and then maybe even finding someone, one of the services that does the 3D printing as well, so you can order the physical models of these STLs that are official, that are all officially kind of authorized by everyone involved. That's what should be happening. I mean, that would be much more competitive than what we're dealing with, this like rules chaos of 40K right now. It's like, and all this these big, stupid, slow-moving companies that can't get out of their own way, that have garbage, corporate
really
structures.
Feel about GW?
So there's just no communication with the designers. If you can get these smaller, talented groups to be working together, you can get some really good stuff. Just the same way that Frostgrave found the miniature, has a kind of their authorized
their
miniature.
North Star
Yeah,
miniature,
North Stars, yeah.
I wonder how
North
that.
Star.
No idea how that collaboration started, or whether it kind of was from the get-go or not. But, smaller, independent games being able to partner up with miniature creators to produce. I mean, heck, even Turnup 28 had that very successful Kickstarter to produce 3D printed miniatures, right? So.
Yeah, and as it gets accessible, not just you having to do all the printing and stuff at home, but if there are more service bureau kind of a Kinko's type situation where you just pick up your minis.
There definitely are somewhere I think you can send STLs and they'll print them for you.
Right. Yeah, and I think they need to get that figured out, how that kind of works, so that people aren't just pirating, physically printing and then selling, because there are there's So a lot of these designers have business licenses.
Yep.
So yeah, you pay $10 a month for personal use, and then you pay $30 or $50, and then you can print them yourself and sell them. And they have always a limited number to keep the market being flooded. They have a limited number of official merchants. Each of these designers.
Like, not that I was ever going to be like a snitch, but like last year, or it doesn't matter anyway. Go into like the hobby store here, like the Volk Center, looking at miniatures and going, "Oh, they got packages of 3D printed miniatures. I recognize this stuff, right? Look, I didn't know they partnered with this person, right?" And then I'm looking back and then checking, like, "Oh yeah, you actually do." Right?
Oh yeah.
But like, I was thinking about that when you were talking about the Patreon. Like, yeah, most of the creators have a merchant license where it's more expensive, but you're given express permission to be able to sell physical prints of their models, right? And like you said, I'm sure they limit the number of supporters at that tier to make it easier to keep track of kind of who's selling their stuff.
So that they can keep better control. So so if that kind of service bureau or printed kind of thing would work, there would have to be kind of a chain of official handoff and confirming licenses and stuff, or people would just come in with their hard drive of stolen STLs.
Or that's the other thing. Like, I'm thinking of books, right? A lot of role-playing game books, especially the Evil Hat books, right? Like, the copyright information in the front is usually pretty funny, but then it says, like, you're permitted to photocopy this for personal use, and then there's something along the lines of like Kinko's operator, like, if like the person is allowed to do this, right? But I'm sure the Kinko's operator print, like, you're printing off like 100 copies of this thing. So I think that's what it would be, right?
He was just touched to be mentioned, and he was like, "Oh, they wrote me a
like
message."
if the service bureau to print things is printing off like 100 copies of the same thing, then maybe it's like, before they start printing it, contact the creator and be like, "Does this person have a license?"
Right, possession with intent to distribute. Right. Yeah. So, we're getting there. We're getting there to something good happening. It's nice to see, good companies that are doing good things, kind of like figuring this out and collaborating. So, of course, the 5 Parsecs is a miniatures agnostic game. They just have they just have artwork in the books, and finally now we have official miniatures that were sculpted based on that artwork.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to go look at this. Not that I need more miniatures.
Right. Yeah. So check out the July release. So you'll be able to get that all the way up to the last day of July. So depending on when you're hearing this, or have the time to take a look at it. That's good. So up to the very last day, you'll be able to add on to that, and you can basically join for that and cancel. It's not. That's the nice thing about Patreon and the tribes, is it's very easy to control. It's not like they're not trying to scam you. It's very upfront about what you're supporting and what it gets you. So very good. Yeah. So if you are curious at all about that game, this is a really cool way.
I might have to go do that, because I have been curious about it. Like, I'm willing to support it at like hardback book level. So I think that's maybe what I'm going to go do.
Yeah. So it's $10. I think that they have 2 levels. $5 doesn't get you everything. It gets you like a limited amount every month, and $10 is the full release. And and it really piles up. There's so many great things that both, and that was the difficult thing when because I supported Titanforge for a while, and it was really hard to choose, because it's almost like, and this might be intentional, like one month the fantasy is really good, and then the next month the sci-fi is really good. So if I had both,
you should do both.
right. So they really do, and I think they do give you a discount if you're supporting them completely. So I'll put a link to that, the Patreon, and then also the Modifius page that has all the details about 5 Parsecs.
And you'll also start firing up the printer, right?
And I've got the printer fired up. Yeah, I've already got that going for the Armada. Yeah, the Mantic Armada boats.
Oh, nice.
They've been coming out pretty regularly. So this is their 3rd month of the Mantic Vault, and they're doing a good job. I mean, nice. I think so that was another thing that was kind of the first step in like what companies should be doing, and making things accessible, and getting games to be kind of globally popular without having to deal with distribution and all the things that have kind of broken down after the pandemic. All right. Well, since we started off with the delicious Monty Python news, let's finish off with a anniversary edition.
Oh, okay.
So the 5th anniversary. So Rowan, Rook, and Decard are releasing Spire: The City Must Fall RPG as a 5th anniversary edition.
Yeah, you got to be careful there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, not 5th edition. Oh, that would be Spire. 5e Spire.
Yeah, see,
oh my God.
That's what I thought when you first said it, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that Rowan, Rook, and Decard would not do that.
Right.
But yeah.
Whoa. All right. Yeah, sorry for the scare there. So heading to retail this September, an anniversary edition celebrating the 5th year of this game will be reprinted. So it's the core book with redesigned, including additional content, which will be the Black Magic Rulebook and the Blood and Dust scenario, which were previously released as softcover. So this is kind of everything all in one place. So just a little bit easier to play it for the first time. And if you don't know Spire: City Must Fall, it's the setting is rebel dark elves conducting a secret war against the high elves in the towering city of Spire. So it's a very fun fantasy setting, and I think the thing that they did really well that I love when smaller indie games do this is you use one artist and you have a very recognizable design, creative identity for the game. So you recognize just seeing the supplements for this game, the illustration and design, it's them, it's this setting. So very distinctive and very good design. So so that will be out. And another thing that they mentioned in this release, they are also doing, and I was a little surprised by this. I wasn't a big fan of this comic, but they are doing the official role-playing game for Die. So the dark fantasy RPG graphic novel, or I guess a series. It's a comic series by Kieran Gillian and Stephanie Hans. They're also releasing that as well. But yeah, 5 years. I can't believe, because I keep looking at Spire, and there's also there's been like humble bundles and things that have included it, and I keep looking at it and wanting to get the physical books.
I think I have a copy back in the States.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Not that it's doing any good here.
Well, you can get the fifth. You can send the 5th edition, 5th anniversary copy to your to the States too. They can send on top of each other. So that was cool to see that they're actually and they've won. There's kind of a whole series, because they have different games set in different parts of the city, and I've been winning awards. Like the writing wins awards when they kind of expand on this setting. So I think they did a very interesting kind of take on fantasy.
Isn't one of the other games Heart?
Yes, yeah, that was
where it's like dungeons, this like ever expanding kind of like living dungeon beneath the city. And from what I hear, it's set in the same universe, but they're two distinct games.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's mechanically distinct, but the idea, I'm pretty sure, like, maybe there's a way to play one of the rebel dark elves in Heart.
Right.
That kind of came down from Spire. But if you're playing Spire, the focus is very much, nope, you're a rebel band of dark elves looking to overthrow kind of the pretty evil bright or like light elves, right?
High elves.
That's right, the high elves. And if you're playing Heart, you're kind of playing a slightly more traditional, like dungeon delving game, right? There doesn't seem to be crossover between the two games. It's like set in the same place, focuses are very different, and you probably won't mix them.
Right. Oh,
I don't know if the mechanics are the same or not, though.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I'd like to take a look at that, because it may be. But yeah, that's a really really fun setting. So yeah, the rebel cell are in service of a forbidden goddess of shadows and misdirection, looking to overthrow the government through espionage, magic, and murder. Ooh.
No, I mean, games shouldn't be political, right? Except they very much are, right? Yeah. I want to play a game of this. Yeah.
Definitely, maybe the 5th anniversary edition.
Oh yeah. Hey.
So yeah,
you still are saying 5th, and my still reaction is right.
Every time you grit your teeth. Yeah. So that's out in September, and I'll put a link to that website as well. So wow, that's gonna do it. We started out with a weird one.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
So yeah,
I'd much rather end on Spire.
Yes.
5th anniversary edition. That's how you gotta say it, right?
Yes, I'm currently working on the Spire 5e, my conversion.
Get out. Oh wait, this is your studio. I'll leave.
All right, so that is going to do it for this week.
Yeah.
So Oh, and a quick update, Brinkwatch, day 160. So just in case
we're going to get to 365. Calling
Yes,
it now. We're going to get to 365 and just keep going.
a year of undeserved salary for this guy. Yep. An executive producer should be more aware of his race. And and just step away. Just step away.
Step away. Yep.
All right. So where can people find you?
On Twitter until that thing just finally completely dies. It's going that way, right? Anyway, that's Hivemind, HYVEMYND. I'm also on Instagram, and that's about it for right now. Yeah, mostly now the stuff is miniature pictures.
Yes, yeah.
It is. If you thought it was hard to take pictures of 28 millimeter miniatures,
right.
It's even harder to take pictures of 10 millimeter miniatures.
Right.
Especially when you're trying to get the camera close and you're just like. Anyway, yeah.
Nice.
So how about you?
And I'm still doing Abusecartoons. So on YouTube and Twitch, I'm drawing Domestic Abuse, my single panel gag cartoon. If you want to read that cartoon, go to gocomics.com/domesticabuse and Abusecartoons on social media if you want to get updates on when that goes live. And during those streams, I also eat things from Japanese convenience stores just to break up the monotony. And if you want to support what we're doing here with the weekly, please consider becoming a weekling.
Yes, the strongest of all supporters.
So at patreon.com/upturntable, support us and let us know what you'd like to see more of. Talk to us in the Patreon chat.
Please don't say Monty Python's Zombicide.
Yeah, right. No, hopefully that's the last time we'll have to talk about that. And also Upturn Table on social media, upturntable.com for everything that we're doing. There is coming soon the final or the second episode of the Dragonbane Quickstart that we played. Dragonbane is physically coming out, and I'm trying to get this finished before that comes out.
Nice.
And I think for July there might be something special for Mutant Chronicles fans.
Ooh.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. It might be kind of
Christmas
in July.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do something that happened last Christmas, but in July. So look for that coming up. So that's all for this week. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. Wow. That AC is pretty noisy, so it'll be good to remove that. From, at least on my headphones, it's pretty brutal. So how's everyone doing? Uh-oh, Matt's still on eBay. $150 for the 7 original D&D dice. Of course, because they were made so well back then. Oh, I like that detail in Game Wizards. The once TSR started doing board games, and then they kind of ran into the 6-sided dice have pips, not numerals on them. So they had to, yeah, they had quite a thing. Oh, nice. All right, so let's rewind a little bit and see. So, what did you guys think of the Monty Python release? Yeah, that's insane, though. The price on some of this stuff, but people are, a lot of stuff has been lost because it's, 50 years ago, and a lot of stuff is being hoarded now, I think, by collectors. Oh, come on. Yeah. So Matt was saying, the rules or the gameplay for Zombicide is a bit repetitive. Yeah, it's just, kind of like tile crawling, killing a bunch of baddies, that kind of simplified tile-based games and everything that kind of Hero Quest spawned. Yes, that license must be cheap for Monty Python. Otherwise, we're seeing it everywhere. Yeah, it's funny too because there's not really a resurgence. Like they've done a few kind of memorial kind of specials or with the surviving members kind of history of Python on some of the streaming services, but there hasn't been some big renewal. I think it's all on American Netflix. I think like the entire run of Flying Circus is on Netflix in the US. So yeah, I wonder how popular that is over here in Japan, if the humor translates at all, or if they just that's got to be tricky. Those away missions. So the Star Trek away missions miniatures. Yeah, they look like those weird, like weird caricature art from a strip mall or something. They're very, very strange. Oh, the Free League dice. Yeah, I'm not sure if they mentioned a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, I have to take a look at the website and see. But I'm sure a lot of stuff, and especially if it's been stuff that's around for a while, I'm sure that's gotten. I mean, I didn't find anything that was half off, but we'll see. We'll see if that's true. Yeah, I got excited when I saw that. A cheap kind of, kind of Star Trek skirmish game. Oh, that's fun, and there's tiles that you could, use for the RPG, and miniatures that you can use for the RPG. Oh, never mind. I guess if you cut all the heads off, you could use them because the bodies seem to be okay proportion, but it's very cartoony. So I guess they were just trying to intentionally say we're not trying to compete, with it using a different IP. We're not trying to compete with a lot of the licensed skirmish games out there. Yeah. Oh, so Matt was saying the Kinko's FedEx doesn't even care about copyright anymore. Oh, wow. They literally have you accept terms when you pay that exempt them from responsibility. Of course they would want, yeah. Well, when I print my manifesto, yeah, usually they're pretty okay with that. That's crazy. Yeah, but they're probably trying to do the, because once all of these platforms got forgiven, YouTube and Facebook and whatever. So once you're a platform, not a publisher, maybe Kinko's is like, we're just a platform that has copying machines. We're not a publisher. So we're not responsible for whatever you're trying to print. Yeah, and I know too that people have, and I'm not sure how clear this copyright is, but if you buy a PDF from DriveThru, you can then, if it's only like a watermarked PDF, you could then go to Lulu and print out a physical version of it with their print on demand. And people have done that, so they don't stop it, but maybe they're just doing one-offs and it's personal use, so it doesn't end up causing any problem. Because if you would put that on your store, if you would have a Lulu store or print on demand store, that then you would offer that would of course be messed up. But of course it's also got your watermark and customer number all over it if it's from DriveThru. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Kinko's is gonna just get away with that as long as they can because it keeps. Yeah. Oh, Abyss is saying, yeah, the company is voiding warranties for absurd reasons. Yeah, when that's not even legal. Yeah, right. If you take that sticker off, or if you remove this screw, then we will no longer, honor the warranty on your iPhone. Oh, yeah. Like laptop and tablet makers. Yeah, that's got to be crazy. Oh yeah, you like my my crazy green glass? Sure, that must look great on camera. Nice. Oh, all right, there we go. So Matt, okay, as a patron, Matt, you get what you ask for. So yeah, we're gonna do a 5e adaptation of Monty Python Zombicide. Oh man. And Chris has to play it. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, and I wonder, what really is the point of those original dice, or if you could even really prove that, I guess, based on the crappy the manufacturing processes they had back then. But it might be hard to even verify that, because I'm sure you could find a bad factory in China that could reproduce the poor quality of 70s polyhedral dice and flood the market with collector's items. Yeah, it's very odd. Yeah, I don't understand. Just because, I guess, because that license was available, they thought, hey, let's put Python in Zombicide. We've already put the Marvel superheroes, so why not? Yeah, it's odd. I'm always surprised at Mantic with that sort of thing too. The board games, because they're starting to get more and more into the licensed IP board games. They have their own in-house war games and things, but then they'll do like the Hellboy or certain board games, and I think they're doing a Walking Dead and some other stuff, and it's just very, I guess it's probably just brand managers and companies talking at conventions where all these like weird things happen, and it just seems to work out. Yeah, but it's really odd. Also, Matt saying Eric Idle does his musicals. Yeah, John Cleese pisses people off on Twitter. And Michael Palin, yes, it's just a happy retiree. The surviving pythons. Yeah, it's funny. But maybe, and maybe that's, because you're seeing that with, didn't like Bob Dylan sell his like whole music catalog just recently, like a few years ago, when the price was finally got high enough. I mean, it's just that there's no point in, if you don't have this huge clan of survivors that, are going to live off of that money. Yeah. Why not just cash in before you're gone? So maybe the Pythons are doing that. They're just like, yeah, let's lower the price and look at our options for board games and Zombicide. Maybe they were playing Zombicide and they said, what would work really great in this game is our characters from Python. Wouldn't that be hysterical if there was a lumberjack? Yeah, that's very funny. Oh, nice. Yeah, the replaceable phone battery thing, that's been bugging me for so long that they did that. So yeah, Abyss said the EU just won a big one. They passed a vote to be able to replace phone batteries. Yeah, that would be great to force force people to have force companies to have to let you do that. So I guess even if they're going to solder the battery directly into the phone, still there has to be a way for somebody to be able, some authorized service to be able to replace it, because that's the nonsense of phones, is how the software is faking it's like actually slowing everything down, so it gives you this illusion that the dying battery is not dying, just your phone is getting slower. And okay, it maybe doesn't say charged as long, but yeah, the software kind of like fakes you out as your battery is going away. Yeah, I heard just recently somebody talking about that and saying that the thing about that, though, and maybe the reason, other than the obvious like kind of forced obsolescence, like the ticking, like the timer of the battery life in a phone that's not removable will force you to upgrade, continually upgrade. But also I heard that having a permanent battery in there also makes the phone useless when it's stolen, because unless you can remove the battery and reset it, then if you can't log in to the phone, then there's no way to take it over. So I think a lot, like the security of smartphones, so the value of stealing people's iPhones is much less, because you can't get the phones unlocked, and a lot of that is because you can't just pull the battery and reset the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know how true that is, but yeah, that's good. I really, that was so insane. And when I had my first phone start to only hold a charge for 2 hours, I was like, how is this how is this possible? The EU is going to save us all, I think, from all the privacy and stuff, all the stuff that people are trying to get away with, that Americans just seem to go along with because, oh, it's so shiny, it's so convenient, and I can see my friends. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no one. Yeah, you're right, Matt. Yeah, so Matt says that no one is talking about the Python RPG anymore. Just a novelty thing, and then they had a pretty elaborate, like deluxe version of that too for that Kickstarter. And maybe once it comes out, we'll get some reviews and stuff. But yeah, it didn't sound. Yeah, it wasn't that compelling, and just like, yeah, people are already dropping too many Python references and just D&D, so I don't know what an entire game that just allows you to go off on it, and how fun that would be for somebody that isn't a fan or doesn't even know, doesn't know that comedy. I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right, because you just have these things just die with the battery stuck in it, and then you just throw it all away. People just have drawers. Yeah, the thing that they've started doing in Japan that I really hate. This is so the Japanese government kind of forced cell phone carriers to provide a reasonable kind of base rate now. So their monthly charges have been kind of government regulated, reduced. So you can't gouge people for like $100, $200 a month for all these like nutty data packages and stuff. So there's a low affordable like data plan for every cell phone carrier, and to make up that money, and this always happens, like when government gets involved, they're clumsy and they just say, okay, do this, and then the companies can move much faster than the government and then just make up that lost profit or lost revenue in another way. So the way that they're doing it in Japan is the phones were always subsidized a bit by the cell phone carriers. That's not the case anymore. You're paying the full price for the phone. Your cell phone data plan is 2 years. The phone repayment plan is 3 years. So once you get to the end of your data plan, contract, and you want to change phones, you still owe a year of payments on the phone. So how do they? So are you going to do that? You're going to get a new phone, have another monthly payment for just the phone itself, and still be paying on a phone you don't use? No. So you have to surrender the phone to end the hardware contract, the contract for the phone, for the physical hardware. You have to give them back the phone. So nobody has old cell phones anymore. They're all being given back at the end of 2 years, and probably refurbished and sent to India and Africa and South America, for developing markets that they're just dumping old iPhones and stuff on. So that's really shitty. I really hate that, because I like having like a Wi-Fi only old, because some phones you have, the camera is good and it'll still kind of function as a there's still some ways it can function as a music player or as a video player or a camera, but now you can't do that anymore unless you want to finish out. You pay one more year of a couple $100 more, and I think you can break that, of course, but you gotta pay the contract. You can buy out the contract, but that's nonsense. So eventually, the government's going to figure that out and make them stop doing that. But it's still crazy. Yes, so I agree, Abyss. There are plenty of disturbing practices out there. And just, the government can't move fast enough to keep control of it. And even when they do try to control it, it's pretty ham-fisted anyhow. Abyss says, why is Monty Python anything even a thing? The whole thing is just jokes and satire on absurdity. Yeah. So it is. It's just absurdist humor. And I guess it's just the reason, that the people keep licensing it is because, it is a mainstay of kind of geek culture. Like, because the movies and everything created so many, just quotable things that just keep coming back endlessly. Yeah. I don't know. And it sounds like if you watch any of the or listen to commentaries or any of the discussion of like the films when they were making the Python films and stuff, it sounded brutal. It sounded like everybody was wrestling for control, and it didn't sound like a fun thing to do. But yeah, it's funny that people are seeing that value, or maybe it's very affordable now, so they don't see the value, but they say that's a pretty good price for recognizable geek culture. So in America, that was even some of the kind of racier humor and stuff that was played on PBS, on the public, kind of the in Japan it's NHK, and I guess in the UK it's all BBC, but it's the public television station played both Monty Python and Benny Hill for some reason. So along with all of the other like educational programming like Sesame Street and Bob Ross painting and everything, you also could see Monty Python. Yeah, it's very funny that that's kind of how it entered the popular culture in the U.S. Hey Miguel, how's it going? Yes, we started late. Yeah, so that's I'll give everybody a bit of a warning about that too. So for podcast listeners, it's not gonna be a thing. But if you do want to see the live stream for this month, Chris's schedule, lunch is going to be late, probably every Friday for the month of July. So the month of July will probably be starting about 2 p.m. here, which will be the previous day's 10 p.m. for West Coast, for Pacific time in the U.S. So kind of calculate from there. But yeah, we're going to be getting a late start probably for the whole month of July, because it looks like the teaching schedule is going to... And that really sucks, because that is just... They gave Chris classes just exactly during lunch, like over any sort of normal lunch. So unless we want to record at like 10 a.m. or whatever, we basically have, like, I guess the choice is 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. So that's what we'll do. Matt said Benny Hill on PBS probably is what started my puberty. Yeah, it was funny because it's not fine art, or it's not like any nudity or any kind of body jokes or kind of adult humor in either Benny Hill or Monty Python. It wasn't, I mean, maybe it was a little censored, but it wasn't censored very much, and so they were just treating it as, this is artistic sex jokes. I don't know. Yeah, that was really funny. But yeah, Benny Hill had a lot of racy stuff that was like, and I guess maybe it was like PBS, but after 9 or whatever, so that was their excuse. Yeah, very funny. Yeah, so Benny Hill, that's one of those treasures, England's national treasures. Benny Hill. Yikes. And that's very funny. Those were the two things. Those are the two big British comedies that PBS chose to air, and so everybody had access. If you had a television with an antenna on it, you could watch Monty Python in the US because it wasn't on cable or anything. It was just free on PBS. And those are very kind of opposite choices. Like, Benny Hill was very lowbrow and just kind of, the yakety sax chase scene at the end of every episode and stuff. So compared to like the Oxford, intellectual absurdist comedy of Python, it's very it's very funny that was the all Americans think that's the range of British humor. I guess then Faulty Towers and some other things made it over, but that was for most Americans. That's the limit. That's the limit of their knowledge. Yeah, so it's got to be funny for every part of the world. It has to be like it's come to them, and it sounds like Abyss, like doesn't have any kind of nostalgia for it or anything. So like, what's the point? Yeah, what's the point of that being involved in tabletop so much? Yeah, that's very funny. Yeah, we're talking about that. Oh yeah, that's right. Matt and I were talking about that a little bit on the cartoon stream, on the Abuse cartoon stream, about how where you live, where you grew up, and your friendly local gaming store is had a big influence on the games the first games you played, the games you liked, the games that were supported, that there were players available, or that the older kids were playing that you were curious about. So because a lot of the there weren't Citadel miniatures, and there were 0 Games Workshop games at the hobby shop that I kind of grew up going to. It was all Grenadier and Ralpartha and all D&D and a lot of the more old school publishers. So so very funny. Oh yeah, the Black Adder. Yeah, after the rev of cable. Yeah, so like and MTV played the Young Ones. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a huge thing for me. Seeing the Young Ones at MTV. That was nice because that was that my understanding of British comedy was Benny Hill and Monty Python, and so to see something like the Young Ones was really like with that punk aesthetic was good. And Red Dwarf, right? Yeah, Red Dwarf wasn't on anything local, right? MTV, when it was about the music. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Blackadder and the kind of like historical comedy. And did they have? I'm not a huge. I don't think I've seen much of Blackadder, but didn't they have like different? They jumped through different time periods. Of basically the same actors doing different roles in different like European time periods. Yeah, I haven't seen so much Blackadder, and I haven't seen maybe like the first season of Red Dwarf. Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you have to rely so much more now on the internet to get access to more alternative or interesting stuff, because the streaming services are definitely not going to take any risks and do anything that's it's weird. They're not bringing stuff back or looking for old stuff to make interesting archives out of. Yeah, because I can't even imagine if you wanted to watch the Young Ones. I couldn't even imagine where that would be. Maybe like the BBC streaming or something. You could VPN your way into that. It might be accessible on some sort of British streaming, but I can't think of like American platforms who would have it. Crazy. And put in timeout. No. What happened? Yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, you mean the Python stuff? Yeah, it's very odd. So I think we're just going to see these because come on. So it's a American. I think they have distribution pretty globally, but American board game company doing a Python zombie game expansion. It's a weird combination, but maybe they're trying new odd things. So what's the next If I don't, I want to see Columbo in in Zombicide soon, or I guess that's not a very big cast. What something maybe the cast of Friends in Zombicide. There you go. There's an IP that needs to see more tabletop exposure. Something terrible like that. Oh yeah, Miguel. Yeah, Miguel said, yeah, good humor needs to be irreverent. Yeah, I think that's true, and especially now, I think it's we don't have enough poking fun at things. We have too much agenda-driven comedy. So, irreverence is good. Homicide Judge Dredd. Yeah, yeah, I could see them trying that. Yeah, Judge Dredd is that license is around. Yeah, I wonder, and it just has to be the coincidence of who approaches which publisher at Gen Con or whoever whatever the actual trade shows are. I don't know. Dallas, the Homicide expansion. That would be great. Or Three's Company. I think I could see Three's Company working well. A lot of strange misunderstandings in rooms, people overhearing things, and zombies. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's really really an odd thing. Yeah, it was a strange week. There wasn't like any big news or anything that jumped out completely. And a lot of people are doing summer discount sales. So not only I should have added that to when I was talking about Free League, but yeah, not only Free League, but there's a ton, and then also Steam and all the video game companies. Everybody does their little summer sales when all the university students are bored at home or whatever they're doing. Lots of cheap stuff. Oh, did you guys see the second trailer for Dune Part 2? It's looking different than I expected, but they finally revealed the Emperor. You finally got to see the Emperor, and was there anybody else that we hadn't seen? I think that's it. But you heard both the Emperor and the Princess speaking, and they also showed the how they're going to portray what's the Emperor's homeworld, but they're going to portray that as kind of green and lush. So you're going to have these very different opposed kind of settings. Yes. Yeah, I was just, I think it was Blackadder. That just came up. I don't know if it was on YouTube or something, but there was I should catch up because I love Rowan Atkinson and the House guys in that too. I don't know that actor's name, but yeah, the guy from the British actor from House is a Blackadder guy. Yeah, they showed more Fade. They showed him fighting. And there we also there's a they changed it a little bit, but the that first duel, that kind of public kind of display that Fade does in the book, there's that couple that are watching him, and I think they're gonna, it seems like, because I haven't showed the actor that's gonna it was like a duke and a duchess or some sort of house royalty, and I think they're only going to do the one character, so they may streamline things so they don't have to introduce such a huge cast, because at the most they're only going to do one more movie, so I don't think they can go crazy. But yeah, the Dune 2 trailer looked fun. I think the first one was a little bit more exciting because it was the sandworm ride, but you got to see flashes of the Water of Life and a bunch of other different things, but it didn't look, the art direction looked a little less I don't know, costuming and stuff was just a little bit like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine. But I thought it was, for the first movie, I thought it was very sharp, and the art direction and everything was really good. But something about the trailer, there was just some scenes I was like, it's okay. But yeah, Fade is going to be bald like everybody else. It's not going to be a bunch of redheads. That's good that the Harkonnens aren't gingers. That saves us a lot of trouble. Yeah, so Yeah, and I'm curious because I think they showed like little flashes of the. So they're going to get to in the second movie. I think because they're going to finish the first book. So yeah, they'll get to the duel between Paul and Fade. Sting and his winged little bikini briefs. Yeah, they even. I think there was. I think David Lynch or somebody said that was working on the movie that Sting was totally willing in that scene to do full frontal nudity. And we already know Sting is not a impressive physical specimen, so that would have been very weird and uncomfortable to have to look at weird redhead Sting walking around all naked and stuff. Yeah, I'm curious how they're going to portray the character and how the actor, because it's the kid from the Elvis movie, right? So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I'll work on that. Matt, I'll catch up on some Blackadder. And because if it's British, then that means it doesn't have like 27 seasons, so it can't be that hard. Oh, nice. Yeah. So I'm curious to see. I can't wait. I hope I can see this. That was a big frustrating disappointment because the Eternals, that stupid Marvel movie, came out the next weekend in Japan after Dune, so it knocked it out of all the IMAX theaters. So I couldn't see the first Dune movie in IMAX in Japan because I didn't go opening weekend. So yeah, the damn Eternals. Obviously, Disney has a better contract in Japan than Warner Brothers. And so I saw it on a decent sized screen, but not IMAX or 3D. So I really want to catch the second one in the best screen I can get to. So we'll see. Nice. It says, when I think of stuff like Blackadder and Monty Python, I think of old shows, but then I remind myself that South Park has been running for 25 years and now I'm old. Yeah, right. Yeah, Python is an ancient show, and you can just tell by everyone's hair and everything. It's super, super dated, but yeah, that's insane. And the production schedule, like I forget what it's on. It might just be on like their Comedy Central website or whatever, but there's that little documentary of 5 Days to Air or whatever, where they talk about the production of an episode of South Park, and it's literally 5 days. Like, it's insane how fast they can produce that show, and how I don't think anybody else has like really picked up on that, because The Simpsons stayed doing their super slow. I think it's digital now, of course, but they're still doing the slow production schedule, so episodes are months out. Compared to 5 days. So it's amazing. It's amazing that and they've been able to dodge the, kind of cancellation, and even the threats that they got when they did the Prophet Muhammad stuff. And they've really endured. I think one of them even got divorced in that time. So he got married and divorced in the time that the show has been on the air. Insane. Yeah, eternal hate for Marvel. Yeah, that really sucks when those crap movies push stuff out of the bigger theaters so quick, because theaters unfortunately can get really tiny in Japan. So if you see stuff, like, it seems like the higher the number of the movie theater, the tinier it is, and you'll end up going into this little room with 5 seats 5 seats wide that is showing a screen probably not much bigger than your television in the US. Oh, really? That's I like the different choices that they made for the houses in the new Dune stuff, so we'll see. Oh, Matt's saying the problem for me is South Park is so topical that I forget a lot of it, whereas Python was deliberately avoided current events and made it more that's true, it made it more universal, made it more kind of, because of its kind of intellectual or like academic bent. You can always make fun of whatever Proust or whatever forever, or Aristotle, whatever the the current or their silly choices were. Yeah, that's true. And I think that does hurt. That does hurt South Park in some. So maybe that short production schedule does also push them because they can stay on top of news and current events. That sets them apart, but it also does make them less evergreen. Because if you think of the early seasons of South Park, back when it was the animation was even more primitive, and things they had character story arcs and stuff that were much more that you could always go back to and watch. But yeah, recently when especially referencing like Paris Hilton or Kanye West or whatever, it's going to be it's going to have a shelf life, and people are going to be, who is this? Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Matt is off. I'm not tricking you into stay up till 3 a.m. again. Oh man, I thought I could. All right, yep. So see you tomorrow, Matt. And so if you're listening to this, or if you're watching the stream tomorrow, we may try to live stream the last mystery in the first collection, the next session of Vaesen. So I think it's going to be, the mystery will be multiple sessions. So it'll be the first session of this last mystery. And so we might try to, it's going to be a very raw kind of stream. I don't think there'll be like, much titles, and I won't put the chat up or anything because it might be too distracting. But if you want to listen along and kind of see how those sessions go, it'll be very unedited, so there will be toilet breaks and refills of drinks and everything included. So we'll see. All right, so good night, Matt, and see you soon. So excellent. Yeah, so that'll that should be fun. It'll be fun. I just going back, like preparing for that session got me excited again. It's been a few weeks. Matt's been running stuff, so it's been a few weeks since I was having to prepare, just showing up and being a player. So it was really it was fun to try to connect all these storylines. Yeah, just a raw stream. Yes, very Gonzo style. Maybe it may go completely snuff. You may just cut to some strange video in some basement. Yeah, that could happen. So I think it's because we're going to do Foundry. So it'll be Foundry. So it'll just be a screen capture, and so our audio from Discord over a source capture of the Foundry virtual tabletop. So you'll be seeing my version of it. So I'll be popping up a lot of nonsense and like reading ahead of and things, probably not related to the exactly what's happening. So yeah, the visual and the audio will be. You'll get to see. You'll get to see that it's how the sausage is made. Nice. Yeah, I'm glad you caught us, Miguel. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be starting about 2 hours or about an hour and a half late for the next few weeks. So yeah, so I'll wrap it up as well. So yeah, got a lot of maybe rain to contend with later. All right. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if this is your first time seeing this from the archives, we do this every week about this time. So it'll be like 10 p.m. West Coast time on Thursday nights. It's Friday afternoon here in Japan. And the Upturned Table is the website, and this RSS goes out on the Patreon, on the RSS feed, and that all that background noise you're probably hearing in the live stream on Twitch and YouTube will be gone. So we'll sweeten the audio so it's more listenable, give it some compression and normalization. So that'll do it for this week. So yeah, take care, everyone, and if you're interested, tune in tomorrow for the Vaesen live stream. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll instantly get notified when that goes up. And that'll go out on the same sources. So it'll be up on our Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So take care, everyone, and see you next week. Goodbye.